let me qualify something. When I said real, maybe I shouldn't have said real, because whatever it was, I couldn't run over and grab it, nor would have I done that. But I don't know about real. It was something. It was of some substance. It was, I want to say not of this earth, but I don't know that. It could have been a ghost, could have been a spirit, could have been a hex. I don't know. Well, let's see where to go. Let's try Stephen on Skype. Stephen, hello.
Hi. Hi.
Hi. Good to have you.
Really surprised I got on. I just wanted to ask, you were talking about Dr. Greer before, and I actually wanted to ask you a question.
Did you hear what he said?
Yes, I did. I'm actually, the reason I listened to your show is actually because I'm actually a big fan of Dr. Greer.
Yes, sir.
He's really what got me into, I guess, ETs in general.
Right.
I actually just wanted to know your opinion on what is the new things that you're saying that he's saying.
Well, first of all, for goodness sakes, that is what he said. I played it. It came from YouTube. So he he absolutely said it. I mean,
his message has changed.
Yes.
More recently.
Yes, and I have to have him on and hear it. But what he did say shocked the hell out of me. I mean, come on.
Absolutely.
He is in essence telling us, look, SETI got a real signal. They kept it secret.
Mm-hmm.
That's no minor matter.
No.
So have we heard already from them is the question.
It's very true. Very true.
All right.
And I guess you'd have to wonder, really, if they did receive, like they said, like a different type of signal.
Yeah. How would you summarize what Dr. Greer is saying now versus what he said all those years ago?
I think his understanding of the subject has evolved just like everyone else's.
I think he believes they are A, already here.
Absolutely.
And B, he's much more interested in having communication with them than he is in doing the things he did years ago.
Absolutely. What I've gleaned from what he said is that he's more interested and less interested in disclosure because he doesn't think that's really a viable possibility. Or not so much that, but so much as he thinks that.
That's what we were going to do tonight. We were going to have Stephen Bassett on, right? He's been working on this disclosure project for years and years and years. And frankly, I was going to ask him at the beginning of the interview, Stephen, while I applaud your efforts, I don't think we're ever going to know. It's never going to be disclosed unless some president comes forward, maybe Trump. Somebody who is, just immune to the talk. And maybe Trump would be immune to the talk that all presidents are apparently given.
I mean, maybe. I don't really think Donald Trump will be elected, despite the fact that I think he's probably the best GOP candidate that's there.
It's all fun watching anyway. I just can't.
Absolutely.
I can't wait for the debate.
Favorite time. Man. Yeah. It's election season. It's always great.
All right, brother. Thank you very much for the call and take care. It's going to be, I just can't wait for the debate. Unfortunately, it's going to be one with rules. It is, right? Debate's going to have rules. You can speak for 1 minute, Mr. Candidate, and then, or 3 minutes, and then so-and-so over there will have 1 minute to rebut what you said. And then, if necessary, we'll give you 30 seconds to rebut what he said. Bummer debate. I want a real debate. And, oh, by the way, while we're on the subject of debates, I'm supposed to have one coming. Now, this may sound laughable to some of you, but I'm telling you it's no laughing matter. There are people out there who believe with religious fervor that our earth is flat, that the scientists are all wet, they bring with them evidence, they think the earth is flat, and they say they can prove it. And so I thought, okay, fine, great. Bring on one of these devotees. Let's get a scientist. Let's have a real debate. That'd be a real debate. I'd love to see one on TV, too, wouldn't you? With only 2 or 3 candidates when it's finally narrowed down to that. God, I'd like to see the real thing. All right, let's go to the phones and somebody calling themselves Dimensional.
Hi, this is actually Nathan from Austin.
Hey, Nathan.
I actually had a story. I grew up in Michigan, and I was about in middle school, I think, and me and my friend were staying up late, and I was looking out the window, and I saw this. He lived on a Christmas tree farm, pine trees.
Right.
And I looked out the window, and I saw this black figure jump from one pine tree to another. It kind of looked like a person.
Right.
And I told my friend, hey, look, I just saw this thing. Do you know anything about it? And he said no. So I thought it was crazy, so I kept watching it, and I saw it again. So I was like, what's going on here? So I told my friend again, and we started watching for like maybe an hour or so.
Right.
And then we saw another one. So I was like, hey, let's go wake up your dad, because I was kind of afraid. And his dad was kind of like he was a farmer, so, he would have been mad we were up late, and he probably would have made the situation worse because he had a bit of a temper. So we kept looking, and, we saw it again. It's like, all right, so we eventually woke up his dad. And he went out on the porch and looked around with the flashlight and everything, and he didn't see anything. So the next night we go out there, and there's a bunch of foot.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let's see if we can get him back. You still there? We lost him somehow. I'm so sorry. That happens. You just suddenly get cut off. Sorry about that. Let's try Cameron. Hello, Cameron.
Good evening, Art. How am I coming in?
You're coming in okay. And that last caller is welcome to call back, and, the rule is suspended for him. I'm sorry about that. Anyway, go ahead, Cameron.
Well, yeah. Just sitting here having a beer, thinking about the shadow people thing that you're talking about, and it's kind of funny. I've seen things before, too, but everything runs on frequencies. If you have the right adjustment of electromagnetic energy, you can see the aurora. Infrasound, that could have an effect on what you saw, because some people with the right lighting, if they have a certain type of infrasound, like the sound that you hear in a lion's roar,
right,
is also the same sound made by a tornado. Or
okay, here's my theory, and you're welcome to either reject it or explore it. It is that once you've stared at a computer screen long enough with that refresh frequency.
Well, that's what I was getting to. It might not be that. It could be something electromagnetic with the screen or the lighting. But like, what was it, Van Gogh or somebody who painted all those pictures with the eerie blue hue to it?
Right.
Or no, Claude Monet, that's what it was. I have it pulled up here. Yeah, they had this really eerie blue hue. And if you mess with the human eye just enough, for instance, with severe cataracts, you can see ultraviolet light.
Uh-huh.
So it could be that it does mess with people's eyes.
It could be that these, whatever they are, appear in ultraviolet and are not seen normally.
Maybe not ultraviolet, but what I'm saying is everything runs on frequencies, and it could be that it adjusts your eyesight and your perception. Just like people who take the DMT stuff, they can see these machine elf entities that hop in and out of them and mess with their heads.
Well, that adjusts everything, really adjusts you.
Everything runs on frequencies. So one frequency, something should transfer from energy to matter, for instance.
Well, I don't want it to do that. It was all enough matter for me. I could see through it, so it wasn't matter. And frankly, if it had turned into matter, I'd have been going for the gun right away. Oh, God, it scared me.
Another quick thing before you hang up. You know that Forrest Bird, he was an inventor that invented the iron lung that saved all those polio kids. He died just the other day.
Wow, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah,
and
if you'll take the time to look into them when you're not busy.
All right. Thank you very, very much for the call. When I'm not busy. Goodness, when is that? When you do a radio program, you're pretty busy a lot of the time. Going outside the country, I think to Ireland. Hello there.
Hello. My name's Liam, calling from Cork, Ireland, correct?
Cork, Ireland. And you're bored. It says bored.
Yeah, I said that a long time ago. I was
really?
bored that day, as you can imagine.
So you were having a bad day, and so you put your emotion up there.
Yep, pretty much.
All right.
It's 6:10, many Roswells.
Right, thank you. So you've been listening. You know what we're talking about. Do you see this sort of thing there?
Next to my computer, I have a picture, and you can kind of see in the background through my window, in my back garden. And one or two times, I think I might have seen something black out there, but when I look, it's gone. So could have been icing. Anyway, I was wondering about ghost matter. If
Yes.
there's nothing set in stone, would you think about Midnight in the Cemetery or something like that?
Oh, you mean for the ghost show?
Yeah.
Midnight in the Cemetery is pretty good.
I've been thinking about it for a while.
But, the traditional name has been Ghost to Ghost, right?
Yeah,
Which,
I've
of course, came
listened to
from
them in
Coast to
places,
Coast.
as you can imagine. That's how I found you.
Well, it's a good point. Midnight in the Graveyard. I will take that under advisement, and maybe I'll change it.
Okay.
Of course, we're not technically in a graveyard, and given the opportunity to do a remote from a graveyard, I don't think I would.
I wouldn't either. Probably not on Halloween night.
One question? Yes, is Ireland a ghost-like place?
Some say it's, now I'm quoting people, but some say it's one of the most haunted countries on the planet.
Yeah, that's exactly what I've heard. All right, well, listen.
Personally, I haven't seen much with my own eyes.
Count your lucky Irish stars. That's what I would say.
So far, I don't have any.
All right, thank you very much. One of the cool things about being on the program is that there is about a 30-second time differential between when we actually talk to you live and then when you finish your call. If you turn your radio on or your stream or whatever, you will hear your call. You'll hear the last at least 30 seconds of your call. So once again, that gentleman from Ireland, if you're outside the country, we'd love to have you. You're probably, if it's in Europe, having a cup of coffee right now or tea. And you're welcome to call us at MITD55 on Skype, MITD55. Let us go to, well, no, we better not. I guess I better get it out of the way. We've got a break coming up, so let me do that. Because it just scared the tar out of me. I mean, that's the only way to put it. So it goes in now to the bin of experiences that I've had in my life that count as, I guess, paranormal. And outside the country somewhere, you are on the air. Hello.
Hello. Can you hear me?
I hear you. I'll tell you what. Get good and close to, like, the microphone part of your computer, if you would.
Okay, my name is Michelle.
Hi, Michelle.
I'm calling from Sydney, Australia.
Sydney, Australia. Excellent. Welcome to the program.
I'm going to make this real quick because I do childcare and I just had to give you a call. I had an incident back in 2006 where I woke up in the middle of the night, I think it was around 2 a.m., and there was a very tall, dark creature standing between myself and the television. I was in bed. I had a very small TV.
Did it have form, or what kind of form did you see?
Yes, it had form. It had a long cloak on, and it had a hood.
Oh.
It nearly reached the ceiling of my bedroom, and it said, everything will be all right, go back to sleep. And with that, I went back to sleep.
Really?
And when I woke in the morning, I could not understand why I went to sleep, as I was terrified.
I'm with you.
Absolutely terrified.
Obviously, It put you to sleep.
Yes, it did.
And
most definitely.
Probably the kindest thing it could have done for you.
Yes,
and
I think so.
It sounds like your charges are climbing the wall, actually.
Yes, they are. Sorry. As soon as you want to make a call, they want to come inside. But I've had many other experiences, unnatural experiences, or natural, I'm not sure. But that one was very concerning to me.
I bet it was. What would you, if you had to guess about what was that? An entity, a ghost, a shadow person?
It had solid form. It was there. I don't think it was a ghost. Somehow, I don't think it was a shadow person. To this day, I don't know what it was. And I'll tell you another experience is when I was in my early 20s. I was living in the city in Sydney with my boyfriend. And I woke up one morning, went and had a shower, and I found a whole lot of squiggles. So, like somebody had been drawing with red texture
Yes.
or red pen on my stomach. Now, I'm a black girl, and so, but it was very, very bright.
Wow.
And I thought it was my boyfriend. So I got out of the shower, went and woke him up, and I said, "What were you doing in the middle of the night drawing on my stomach?"
Right.
I was very angry. And he said, "Don't be ridiculous. I did nothing of the kind." But what was most peculiar was that all my life I had an outie belly button, very predominantly out. And that from that moment on, he said, "What happened to your belly button?" It was gone.
Wow. A positive experience. Kind of.
No, I was happy with my outie. Thank you very much.
I love it. All right. Thank you so much for the call.
Oh, I'm very surprised that I got through. First time I tried, so thank you.
Right. You call again. Thank you. Pretty easy to get through if you're outside the U.S. and Canada because, there's just not as many people. If you think about it, in Europe, for example, it's very early morning right now. It's easier for the Aussies, the Japanese, maybe people in Hong Kong to get through, maybe Thailand. We're at a better time of day there. Who wants to call a talk show when they're just, sitting at the kitchen table with their first cup of tea or something like that? So, all right, so where to go? Let's go to, I think, Buffalo, New York. You are on the air. Hello.
Hi, Art.
Hi.
Like everyone, so happy that you're back.
Oh, I'm so happy to be back. You just don't know.
Yeah, well, we've missed you. Two things. The other day you were talking about the car out of your window. It was going to be hit.
Yes.
And I tried calling in how you had that strong, strong feeling.
Sure.
And I wanted to mention the fact that I had that one time about 30 years ago where I was keeping score at the bowling alleys, and the little voice said, buy a ticket for the 50-50 split.
Right.
And I never spent money on it. And so I bought 2 tickets, and everybody was like, well, who's the winner? And I go, I am. And they were like, well, how do you know? And I go, well, the ticket's in my pocket. I just know. And I did win. So that confirms your story with the car. But as far as the ghost thing, there's a place in south of Buffalo. It's Jamestown, and it's called Lilydale.
Right.
I've gone there for seminars. And when you're dealing with spiritualism and mediumship, and they have prayers that you can open the door to communication, and they train you to become intuitive. I mean, we all are. But there's a prayer, and I don't know if do you want me to give you the prayer over the air?
I'll tell you what. Email it to me.
I don't have a computer.
I'm
What?
willing.
It's a real simple one. You surround yourself with God's white. I always say a prayer when I'm driving. Almighty God, surround me with the white light of your protection 3 times for body, soul, and mind.
How about praying to keep those idiots away from me?
Well, and the thing is that when I have dreams,
my problem,
always,
I always reach out with the negative,
You reach out and you send them back to, if they don't come with the highest good and your best interest and intention, you can empower yourself and send them back. If they don't come with the highest good for your intention.
Let's put it this way. When you're doing 65 miles an hour, let's say, on the highway, somebody passes you doing about 80, and then they slow down in front of you to about 50. I want to send them somewhere, but nowhere good.
Well, you know what? That's where it's kind of crazy. You can call me nuts, but when I surround myself with the white light, I'm on the thruway, and I go 60. Speed limit's 55. I'm not going crazy, but they're all passing me anyway, even if I am going 5 over. But when I'm driving, it's uncanny how I'll look in the rear view, I'll look in the front, and I probably have about a 4-car space in front and behind me.
That's good.
I don't know what it is, but it's crazy how I have a circle around me. They're driving. There's 20 in front, there's 20 behind, but I've got a circle of freedom around me.
Okay, so you think that a circle of protection keeps trouble away?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Absolutely.
well, it's either that. Thank you very, very much for the call. It's either that or, I don't know, like a machine gun mounted in the right place, which everybody who drives a lot wants.
Well, you
I'm sorry. That's just me. That's really just me.
All right, you're being funny and you're being,
Actually, I'm not. I'm really not. I'm being serious. I don't have a positive attitude about it. If someone does that to me It's like I could strangle them. I could, with my bare hands, watch the breath go out of their bodies.
Yeah, that's not good, though.
I know.
Not good, but but you can practice it. You can surround yourself with white light. You can any negative coming your way, return to sender.
Yeah, I mean, the only white light I want to see is the tail end of a Stinger missile headed toward them. I appreciate your efforts anyway. I'll give it a try. And listen, if white light works, if good, wonderful vibrations actually do the trick, I'm willing to give it a try. Thank you very much for the call. I think we're going to Johnstown, Pennsylvania.
Hello, Art.
Hello.
How are you this evening?
Fine. Perplexed, but fine. Fine.
Glad to hear that. Well, my name is Matt, and I am calling from Johnstown, Pennsylvania. And I just want to start by saying that it is an extreme honor to be able to speak with you. So thank you very much for taking my call. It's
an honor to be here to take it. Believe me, I'm so glad to be here.
Well, everyone is so glad that you're back, so thank you for that as well.
All right.
But I just wanted to briefly discuss with you about a possible guest I would love to have you speak with.
Absolutely.
I'm not sure you might have heard of her. Her name is Dr. Judy Wood. And she is a PhD, and she's a brilliant woman. She has I don't think theory is quite the right word. She's come to believe through her own examination, through her own expertise, that the World Trade Center was destroyed by a high-energy weapon, a free energy weapon.
The World Trade Centers, really, but we have all these high-resolution photographs of the airplanes crashing into them.
Well, she doesn't really speak so much about the airplanes. I know with 9/11, there's a lot of theories. There's a lot of information out there, a lot of differing opinions.
Oh, you're right about that, and there are, but we do have incontrovertible video proof of what hit them.
Right. Well, be that as it may, she discusses more about the collapse and what happened. I'm sure you're familiar with the Hutchinson effect. Did you ever speak with John Hutchinson?
Oh, yes.
Okay, right, yeah. She references the Hutchinson effect, and believe me, her research and her looking into this is so extensive. I wouldn't be able to do it justice here with this few short minutes that I have with you, but she's a fascinating guest. She's also caught the eye of many people, including Richard C. Hoagland, who's looked into this, and I don't know if you can say that he is a convert to her line of thinking, but I mean, it definitely caught his attention.
Well, and, are you aware of the fact that he's got a show that follows mine?
Absolutely. Art, I used to fall asleep listening to you. Now I force myself to stay awake till 3 a.m. and I fall asleep to Richard. So he's got the pleasure now of being the one to lullaby me to sleep, so to speak.
I'm not sure if I should be honored or I think I am. In other words, you now stay awake for me and fall asleep with Richard.
I do. Nothing against Richard. It's just, the human body can only stay awake for so long. And, your program is can't miss in my book. So.
Okay. All right. Well, bless your heart. Thank you very, very much. I appreciate your call. And listen to Richard. He'll be here when I'm all done. All right?
Very good. I just want to say real quickly, I think it's important to say that Dr. Wood doesn't go into so much the who or the why. She just goes into the what.
For Dark Matter News, I'm Leo Ashcraft. A woman in the UK who underwent a hysterectomy said she woke from surgery to find her doctor had removed 2 of her front teeth. Claire Jones, 47 of Newcastle, says she cannot believe that this happened, and she still has not been able to get a straight answer from the hospital. Before the July 15th procedure, Jones had signed a declaration informing doctors at Royal Stroke University Hospital that she had 1 denture, which was then taken out. Doctors allegedly could not account for her additional missing teeth, which has now led to an investigation. A new jaw-dropping up-close video displays the eruption of the Piton de la Fournaise volcano, located on Reunion Island in the Indian Ocean near Madagascar. New footage of the eruption, which prompted evacuation on Friday, shows the fiery rivers of lava running down the slopes. The eruption lasted for 3 days before ending on Sunday, shortly after 11 a.m. local time. This is a World Heritage Site and is one of the most active volcanoes in the world. The volcanic activity hampered the work of Malaysian investigators examining suspected debris of the MH370 flight found by beachcombers on Reunion Island on Wednesday. Malaysian Airlines flight MH370 went missing on March 8, 2014, with 239 people on board shortly after taking off from the Malaysian capital of Kuala Lumpur en route to Beijing. Its disappearance prompted a massive international search lasting more than a year in the South Indian Ocean, the China Sea, and the Gulf of Thailand. An ex-aerospace worker came forward and admitted that the chemtrail devices that are being installed on airplanes are actually being installed, and in fact that he was one of the installers. And he goes on to share details about what they installed. He said they gutted the plane, mounted the tanks, installed the cables and lines and spraying devices. He says he was a civilian worker supervised by the military. When they were finished, they were told that this was a test conducted by the German Aeronautics and Space Administration, meaning that the plane with spraying devices goes ahead while a second plane with measuring devices flies behind and conducts measurements. He said when they were finished with the installation, guys from the military came over and instructed them to wear full body protective clothing and breathing masks because they were now going to fill the tanks, and that the substances like aluminum sulfides or barium oxides would contain highly toxic nanoparticle-sized polymers. For additional information on chemtrails and the full story from World Truth TV, visit darkmatternews.com. Scientists have made the world's first white laser light. Since being invented in 1960, lasers have been put to use in all sorts of applications, from computers and printers to fiber optics and surgery. But for this entire period, there was one thing in particular that lasers simply could not do: produce white light. Now, a team of researchers has finally announced that they've managed just that, creating a device that can emit in any color across the visible spectrum, a requirement for white lasers. Normally, lasers can only produce a single wavelength, meaning that they are restricted to one particular color of light. This color is dictated by the structure of the semiconductor, which is usually a solid chemical element or compound arranged into crystals, and is what produces the light when a voltage is applied to it. The team of researchers from Arizona State University have been able to create a semiconductor that has 3 different sections, which, when stimulated, emit red, green, and blue, and thus combine to form white. The milestone puts lasers closer to eventually becoming a mainstream light source, brighter and more energy efficient. They could replace LEDs and even be used to make more accurate and vivid colors on computer and television screens. In addition, technology is under development to create light-based wireless communication, known as Li-Fi, which could potentially be more than 10 times faster than Wi-Fi. I'm Leo Ashcraft for Dark Matter News.
Now, we're discussing all kinds of things tonight. It's open lines. Don't feel bound to discuss shadow people, but if you do, I really would like the description of what you saw. I'm wondering if there's any commonality here. What I saw really is haunting me, and I guess haunting is the right word. That doesn't mean it was a ghost. It means it's haunting me. Hello there, Brian.
Hi, Art Brian from Montreal.
From where?
From Montreal.
Okay. You're on.
So first things first, I like to do the art caller trifecta.
What would that be?
So 1, is this art? 2, am I on the air? And 3, can you hear me?
Yes, and mostly.
Perfect. So I like to quickly suggest open lines in the future. I sent this to you on Friday, and I just thought it'd be a good idea. A Children of Time Traveler line, perhaps, that you can open up, one night when you're doing open lines, because I think it'd be interesting.
I tried, but getting good time travelers is not an easy job.
That's fair. I totally understand that, but I'm just figuring, with who knows how John Teacher actually spent his time here if he was supposedly here, right? Perhaps
you've got a good point. You don't have very good internet, but you've got a good point.
I'm sorry about that.
That's all right. No problem. Let me give out. Let me do it. I don't care. I mean, we can do anything you want. Let me open a time traveler line right now, just in case. You ready to copy, time travelers? If there really is a time traveler out there, call me at my Roswell number. That's right. It's routed through Roswell for a good reason. And the number is area code 575-208-7787. Any time travelers, the real McCoy now, area code area code 575-208-7787. 208-7787. That's by request, I guess. All right, let's go to somebody in, I think, Nashville, Tennessee. Hi.
Oh, hello, Art. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
I don't know what the subject is because I've had my radio turned down.
Oh.
What's the subject?
Well, the subject is whatever you want it to be. Now, we were talking about shadow people or whatever in the hell they are, but we can talk about anything you want.
Okay, well, first, can I give a plug for our new Art Bell Time Travelers Facebook page?
You may.
Okay, we have this brand new Art Bell Time Travelers Facebook page, and it's only been up like 2 or 3 days, and we've already got some really great people that have joined, and everybody loves you, and we're so glad you're back.
Okay, what is the actual, if you don't mind my asking, name of the Facebook page so people can, is it called Art Bell's Time Traveler or what?
It's Art Bell Time Travelers. They can put in up there in the search in the Facebook, they can just put Time Travelers.
Right.
Or Art Bell Time Travelers, and it'll go right to it.
Okay. Well, I'm sure that will attract some to you.
I hope so, and we're having fun, and we're enjoying you, and we missed you so much. You just don't realize how much we have missed you
It is
being
great
on
to
the
be here.
air.
Thank you so much.
And we're hearing you on shortwave here, too. Ted Randall's got it playing, on 5085.
Right.
And it comes in very well.
I love the way a Southern person says that. 5085.
I know what you think about us.
Not at all. No, I actually love the accent. I love it.
Well, thank you, but there's not much I can do about it.
Actually, you know what? A lot of singers, whether they're from the South or not, when they sing, pronounce the things as though they're from the South. I.
Really?
Yeah, I becomes I. And so
Are you
forth.
talking about country music singers?
Not just country music singers, but any singers.
I never noticed that before.
It's the truth. Anyway, so I like your accent. Thank you very, very much for the call. And let me add, in addition to an apparent time traveler page, I'm learning through, I get all these messages that come through the wormhole. Stryker says, TuneIn has its own chat room for any channel, so there are plenty of us chatting about the show in there. I had no idea. These chat sites and different things pop up all over the place. All right, on what I called my time traveler line, I'll give it a try. You're on the air. Hello.
Hello, Art Bell.
Are you really a time traveler?
No, actually, I was availing myself of the, why, did I call the wrong number?
Oh, yeah, you sure did. Sorry. That was for time travelers, and so I had to, let me try it again. Time traveler line, you're on the air. Hello.
Hi. Does it count if it's a time traveler story about a child seeing a time traveler? Art, I've been wanting to tell you this story for years. When I was a little girl, 9 years old, I believe I saw a time traveler.
Well, wait a minute. Let me qualify you first. Now, this is a time traveler's line. Are you a time traveler?
No, but I saw one when I was a child.
Okay, well, how do you know you saw one? I might go for this. Go ahead.
I believe I did.
All right.
I was in my backyard, and I was about 9 years old, and it was after dinner. I was pulling up my bike out of the cellar stairs,
yes.
And I turned back, and I looked behind me, and there was a man standing in my backyard about 30 feet. There was no way he could have gotten in there. And he looked kind of shocked or kind of confused.
Yeah, but what makes him a time traveler?
He was out of time. His clothing was out of time.
Oh.
His clothes were like in the 50s, and this was like 1977, 1978. And he had that haircut that you would have in the 50s, and a type of shirt and khaki pants. And then, as I was pulling the bike out, I looked back, I saw him, looked forward again, and then I realized, wait a minute, this is something wrong. I turned back around, and he was gone. And there was no way he could have left my yard. There was no way. He was too far from the gate.
Okay, well, I'm gonna thank you. I'm gonna let you slip through barely on that. I really want. Now I'm going to be strict about this. That line that I gave out is for time travelers only. All right? Let me give you the number again so you don't make a mistake. You better be a time traveler if you call this line. It is area code 575-208-7787. Non-time travelers, well, I've got a little button here, and I can send 130,000 volts right through this phone line. So the potential danger for you extends beyond being hung up on. Time travelers only. Kurt, hello? On Skype, you're on the air. Hello, Kurt. No, Kurt.
Hello, I'm here.
Oh, you
Sorry,
are there.
I have my mute button on.
Oh, that'll do it.
Let me turn my radio off. Doggone it, I'm sorry. I came up fast.
Oh, well, that's
how are
it
you
happens.
doing?
Doing well, thank you.
I wanted to tell you about, I want to tell you about a little time travel story that happened to me.
Okay.
I was in, I'm getting nervous. Okay.
Big, deep breath.
Okay. Yeah. I was in high school in the marching band in the hour one. We would march out on the field and practice, in halftime you do all the designs on the field. Mm-hmm. And so that first hour, I think I was a sophomore at that time, and there I am and have my saxophone and in line, and Diana, happened to be my cousin too by marriage, but she played saxophone with me too, and we're standing there, and all of a sudden somebody comes walking out on that field. Look, just spit an image of me. It was me walking out on that field.
Oh, my.
Looked at me, and Diana said, Curtis. Looking at him, said, and laughed, Curtis, there you are. And he looked at me, or I looked at me, and he went up and talked to Mr. Yeager, our band director there in front, and went up there, and whatever he said, I have no idea. And he walked away and looked back at me and walked away, and I never saw him again.
And you're sure that was you?
It was me. It was a spitting image of me. But I didn't know. I
okay,
just know that it was me.
A younger you, an older you?
It was the same age as I was as a sophomore, but it was a spitting image. Even Diana said, Curtis, there you are, laughing, and people looking around laughing. And I said, what was I to think? But then the next year, 2 years later, when I was a senior, I had to do the announcements and say the pledge, being president. I made president, and so that was my duty. Second hour, I'd go in there and do the announcements. I forgot to go in and do the announcements on this one Tuesday or Wednesday, and there I'm sitting in geometry class, and my voice comes up on the air to do the pledge and do the announcements, and there I'm sitting listening to myself on the announcements.
Right. So in other words, you met your. I believe you. Thank you very much. No need to swear. I believe you. Met yourself twice. Outside the country we go. Hello, Raymond.
How we doing?
It's going well. Where are you, my friend?
I'm in Edinburgh, my friend.
Where?
It's good to hear you. I'm in Edinburgh.
Edinburgh. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's good to hear you back on the radio, Mark.
It's good to be back.
As well, mate. I was just want to talk about when I stayed in the flats one time.
You what?
And I stayed in the flats, in the blocky flats, and I was sitting, seen out my window, like in a big ball.
Okay, you're cutting out a little on me, and you. Besides that, you have an accent that I could cut with a knife, but I'm trying. So you were in a flat in Milwaukee, was that right?
No, I was in a flat.
Oh, I'm sorry, you cut off. How did I manage to get a flat in Milwaukee out of that? I don't know. Kind of sounded like it. Going to a cell phone in Virginia. Hello.
Hi, this is Plasma and Fullerton in Virginia, listening on 5085 kilohertz, shortwave WTWW. We transmit worldwide, a great station, and if you got a shortwave radio that picks up 60 meters, you can listen to it for free.
Yes,
over
sir.
the air.
That's right.
Now, I am also a little bit familiar with this phenomena you were talking about before, that with the computer screens. And in fact, years ago, I developed a thing called pattern light, which is very similar to what they're now using for the backlighting, where they move the lighting around to follow the video.
Really?
And I think that may be what's going on. I was able to make a machine using pattern light that allowed large groups of people to dream together and have the same dream right away.
Really? Now, what started you doing that?
I was working on an exhibit for the Science Museum of Virginia, and I was working late at night one night, and I was standing across the room looking at this display. It was basically a simple LED large-sized display for a rocket countdown, and I noticed all these speckles in the light. I said, well, wait a minute, I'm getting coherence like from a laser out of this. There's no coherence in that light. I started investigating and finally discovered the coherence was inside my own neural network, inside my skull.
Wow.
And I was able to refine that to the point where I had 6 dials that I could tune, and everybody see the same thing the same way because their neural networks are similarly wired.
Okay, how did you get from, experimenting on yourself to others?
I made a device to experiment on myself, and then when I realized that it worked on others, I built in several more headsets to wear. And, I plugged them all into the same thing, and we had parties where we'd tune around and dial up what was in our neural networks, and people would gasp and be awed at the same thing at the same time when we asked them what they just saw.
Huh. So what have you done with this?
You could even dial up an extra visual field on top of your other one so you could see right through things. So what you're saying about seeing through things makes a lot of sense to me.
Well, I definitely saw through this thing. I would say, the room was fairly dark, but it obscured only about half, I would say half, of what was behind it, what I could see behind it, to give you an idea.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I want people to describe these things to me, because I know exactly, I don't know what I saw, but I can describe what I saw.
Art, it's so good to have you back. I'm a long-time listener, and I've got one comment I'd like to make about how you're pioneering a new way of delivery. I mean, I know a lot of people have done online streaming, but the way you're doing it, I think, is kind of pioneering. And the one drawback that I see in this plan is that people got to pay a lot for bandwidth, and that's not your fault. That's the way bandwidth costs in the United States, and it shouldn't.
Yeah, but you know what?
There's a patch around this.
Well, there is. For one thing, at this time of night, my friend, the majority of people are at home. And so if they're using the Wi-Fi on their phone or their tablet, it's not costing them, or their computer, it's not costing them anything.
Yeah, it depends on what kind of package they got for internet service. That may well be true. But there's people on the road and truckers and the like that really can't partake. There's a lot of rural people who simply do not have rural internet.
True.
There's a thing called White Spaces Radio Networks, which was approved in 2010 by the FCC and went operational in 2012, and it's just sitting there fallow, unused. And if the listeners would support this and band together and form co-ops with this new White Spaces internet service, they could become their own service providers.
Okay.
And they could do it for both the uplink and the downlink.
How do you get to it?
Well, first of all, what's happening now is it's about to be destroyed by a move in Congress started by a bill introduced by Senator Mark Warner in Virginia, unfortunately, that wants to take the UHF TV spectrum, which is the largest spectrum grant ever given to the American public in 1952, and repackage it and remove all the white spaces so we can't have it. And I would like your listeners to think seriously about how nice it would be to have about 15 or 16 TV channels worth of spectrum in your portable device.
Okay, well, you are aware that, most of the companies providing internet now, along with phone service, are increasing drastically the amount of data that you can get. And I'll tell you a little secret. If you call them up and say, listen, I'm kind of fed up, I'm thinking of canceling, they will send you over to a retention person who probably will increase by a gigabit or more how much they give you just to save you.
And I agree with all that, but if you're a road trucker, you may not be able to get a plan because there's no connectivity out in the, some of the rural areas along the roads. And there's a lot of areas in the Southwest that are just dead except for satellites.
I know.
Now, if you can have a satellite downlink with these little spot beams coming from the Exceed satellite, and then have that be propagated out to the surrounding by a mesh network,
right?
Then local communities could set up their own downlink and internet service provider amongst themselves, like a rural electrical co-op, and then you could have a KU band downlink that could feed your show, so you don't have to have huge bandwidth that you're in.
All right, buddy, I've got to go. I'm at break. Thank you very, very much.
Thanks. Bye.
Take care.